episode of Zeng This. This is going to be our Halloween special. It's not anything too drastic. We're just trying to have a little bit of fun. I know that we just started the podcast in October, so doing a month-long kind of creepy special wasn't really in the cards. But hey,
next year.
But hey, our podcast does fall on
Halloween on Monday.
We figured since this does fall on Halloween, we were going to actually do, a little special Halloween-y episode of the podcast. The next year, we're hoping to do a little bit more grandiose, month-long tribute to spooky and, evil stuff. So that will be something to look forward to next year. Have you been up to anything comic-y, nerdy this week?
I hate to admit that I got a little behind on a couple of my shows that I like to watch, so I've been trying to get caught up. I know. I've been trying to get caught up on Arrow, so I'm current with The Flash.
Cool. So you're caught up on that.
But Arrow.
With the whole Flashpoint and everything?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. It's pretty cool. I like it so far. Makes you your brain...
Yeah, that's...
It's a little crazy trying to wrap yourself around this point and Flashpoint and this timeline and that timeline, but it's really cool, and I am almost caught up with Arrow, so I'm getting there.
Awesome. Well, the third episode of the Telltale Games Batman series came out this week, so
okay.
I've been playing.
Played it?
I've been playing that. Sadly, I haven't gotten through it yet.
Okay.
Normally, I can blow through those pretty quick, but I've had kind of a reasonably busy schedule this week, so it was definitely fun to get that little surprise, because I remembered that they said that they were going to have something out by the end of October, and of course, one of the last weeks of October, they gave it to us. So that was very cool.
When is do you know when the next one is?
I haven't looked it up yet.
Okay.
I need to finish this one first, which I'm sure is going to end on some epic cliffhanger. The storyline so far is really good. Of course, Telltale's known for doing really good storylines, so it's definitely cool to have a cool Batman story. On the other hand, I also, on the Marvel side, I did get a new graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
The Thor one, the God Butcher. So I'm interested to start reading that. I need to get into reading that. And I also need to watch a little bit more of Gurren Lagann. I'm kind of got a few irons in the fire right now.
Understandable.
So
it's hard to pick.
Exactly. I mean, we got a lot going on, so it's kind of trying to keep up on everything. So since we're going to go into some spooky or creepy topics in a minute, what's your favorite scary movie? Or horror movie, I guess.
Okay. Let's see. I do like Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, darn it, you took mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's a great mixture of a lot of different style movies over the years.
Now, would you say that the only way to truly appreciate that movie is to have watched other horror movies?
Yes. That wouldn't be I wouldn't make that a jumping point.
Yeah.
Like your first one that you see, definitely older ones.
Well, that was going to be my pick. I mean, I have other ones. I like the Evil Dead series, but that one I feel was such a good movie when it came to kind of, if you've watched horror movies, that one's kind of like the best version of it. If you haven't seen it yet, it starts out very cookie cutter.
Yes.
It's a very cookie cutter, paint by numbers horror movie. And then you kind of find out why it's like that later on. I don't want to reveal anything if you haven't seen it, but
I thought that was quite when you do watch it, it's quite a different take on the concept of it. I thought that was cool.
Yes, that's definitely one. If you haven't seen it yet and you're sitting there trying to figure out something to watch, that would be a good one. Good one to watch on a spooky Halloween night.
What about you?
Oh,
I know you said the Ash movies.
Yeah, the Evil Dead series is probably my favorite.
You think so? Okay.
Second one definitely is very high up there. I know that a lot of people say those aren't true horror movies. I guess Alien would kind of play into.
That was a good one.
I guess
the
if I
first
could,
one?
yeah, I like the second one more, but the second one's more of an action movie, I guess. Where the first one is more true to horror movie
Right.
genre.
The
So
nice exploding alien out of the stomach.
yes, yes,
Cool.
definitely a classic. So I guess that's a quick little list of some creepy movies and stuff. With that being said, I think we're gonna move on to our first topic,
Okay.
which is
Big monster movies.
giant monster
Yes,
movies
giant.
and giant monsters in movies. So we're gonna move on to that topic, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the break. This is
Zeng This.
and welcome back. This segment we're gonna be discussing giant monster movies, maybe a few TV shows thrown in there too. For this segment, you of course have yours truly, Zinger. We also have
Ellie.
and
Rob.
awesome. So we got the group together. We decided we wanted to discuss giant monsters in movies. And who would like to go first?
I can go.
Okay. Rob, you can go first because I know you're gonna you're bringing one to the table that you cannot talk about giant monster movies without this one being mentioned. So have at it.
Oh, well, you can't talk about giant monster movies without talking about Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. I'm joking. I'm of course talking about Godzilla. Godzilla's obvious.
Womp womp.
Godzilla's important because it in the category of giant monster movies, it goes back to the classics, and it is relevant currently. Very long-running franchise. So
29 movies. 29 movies by Toho Studios,
by Toho.
which doesn't include, I believe, the American ones.
Yeah. Well, I recently watched the original 1954 Gojira last night, and great movie. Like, everyone loves Godzilla for being a guy in a rubber suit fighting other monsters, but the 1954 one goes much darker than that. So, if you're listening to this, I hope you've seen. If you haven't, just watch the 1954 one. If you've seen it, watch it again, because it's been a few years for me, and I forgot how good it was. And yeah,
They also had a recently. There's about 5 different names for this new Godzilla movie, but it's supposed to be a quote unquote retelling of it, just in the modern day. There, you said that you heard it as what title again? It was like
Godzilla Resurgence was
and
the
I
title
heard it as
I heard.
Shrine or Shine, I believe, but that's apparently that's in theaters right now, or was just in U.S. theaters.
I hope they do, and I hope they do the classic justice. Unfortunately, there was an American movie made that did not do the classic justice. It was a poor, almost unwatchable version of Godzilla.
Well,
And it was made in 2014.
I knew what you were going for, and I was going to try to slip a joke in there before you got that out, but all right. Everyone get your pitchforks and torches ready.
Well, the characters were really generic, in my opinion. And you could almost get by this if it was a good Godzilla movie. Yeah, like, the trailer really made this movie look promising. I went into the theater with high hopes for this one.
Because it was Walter White versus Godzilla.
Bryan Cranston and Godzilla, 2 things that can probably sell a movie for me, and you barely got any of either. This was just I say unwatchable because it was so boring.
Okay, I'm gonna interject here. I'm sure this is not me and Ellie teaming up against Rob on this one, but I think we can both agree that we saw the movie. I liked the parts where Godzilla was in it.
Yes.
Yes, that is few and far between, but I liked the way he looked. I liked what they did with
it looked
him.
amazing. He
with,
looked amazing.
With him. I do agree that there is a lot of pointless human story going on, though. I can't remember his name right now, but the kid from Kick-Ass. I cannot remember his character's name.
Because it was forgettable.
But that guy seemed to somehow... I don't know if he had a death wish the entire movie, but he almost died every scene he was in and miraculously lived through every scene he was in.
Yeah, luckiest bastard in the world.
You guys say that, but at no point while I was watching this movie did I ever really believe his life was at stake. Even if it was, like, I wasn't interested in this character enough to care. And, you want a love interest, let's have his wife be a nurse in a city with a crisis. Just really,
and
like...
she throws her kid on a bus with... She knows, like, one or two people, but she's like, here, take my kid, I'm going to stay in the city.
I mean...
I think we're devolving too much into just slamming this movie instead of pointing out the giant monster in it.
Well...
The parts that he was in it
yes,
were
great.
Yes.
The atomic breath. Love that. Where,
Okay.
spoiler alert. The part where he grabs the other monster, opens its mouth, blows the atomic breath straight down into it. Awesome.
Ed rips his head off after that.
Yeah, awesome. The first time you see the atomic breath.
That
awesome.
Was awesome. I can't deny that was an awesome, but I can't watch a 2-hour plus movie for just that one scene. I can just replay it on YouTube. Like the whole movie wasn't worth sitting through just to get that like little bit of, oh, that was cool, that was nifty.
So we're gonna kind of, I guess, leave Godzilla for a second. I'm sure he will come back up. Sure, other stuff that involves him will come back up. But I want to go from talking about the 2014 Godzilla to talking about the non-action in that movie, to talking about a movie that was all action, that involves giant monsters and giant robots. I'm talking about Pacific Rim. Amazing summer blockbuster movie. I loved it. I know that that's probably going to divide people. I love this movie. I cannot get enough of this movie. I can watch it. I don't even have to find it on TV. I'll throw a Blu-ray in and watch it in a heartbeat at the lowest possible amount of being provoked, because it is just an action card after another for a great, just giant monsters, giant robots fighting the entire time. I'm going to stop so other people can talk, because I feel like I'm just going to go on for a while just continuing that statement.
Don't forget about the random nosebleeds throughout the movie.
Oh, yes, Idris Elba, random nosebleeds because he's dying of something. So this was directed by Guillermo del Toro, great visionary director of our times. Every one of the robots in there is just the cliche version of, the like ultimate version of each country. You've got Striker Eureka from Australia, which is like the newest version of the robots in this are called Jaegers, and they're fighting the kaiju, which are the monsters. I'm probably gonna have to I'm just gonna keep going on this because, like I said, this movie is.
I was also gonna say, Ron Perlman was a lot of fun.
Well, I was about to. I have that there because I was like, you got Guillermo del Toro. Assume Ron Perlman is somehow on that list of actors.
I thought it was interesting that it had the two main characters from Sons of Anarchy, but man, when the first scene you see Ron Perlman, like, it's just so awesome.
Ron Perlman, just everything he does in that movie, I swear that I don't even think they gave him a script. I just think they told him just to go nuts with his character, because everything about his character is over the top.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you got Crimson Typhoon, you've got Gypsy Danger, which is the US one, and you got all these, great giant robots, and you got the Russian one, which is Toronto Alpha. And I mean, it's the Russian one has like a Rock'em Sock'em like robot punch, where it's like arm kind of extends to punch one of the kaiju in the face. Like I said, it's fun. It's giant monsters versus giant robots. I feel the title card itself sells this movie. It was awesome. I loved it. It was a great summer blockbuster for me. So that's definitely one. When you talk about giant monsters in movies, that one is definitely on, my list of watch this.
I agree completely. It's a lot of fun. Like, the amount of action and fun action and fights you want to see is like what our previous movie was missing.
Exactly. So I think that was a good follow-up to the 2014 Godzilla. Going over to you, Ellie.
Oh, me. Well, one of my favorite monster movies, and I know some people are some of my picks might be not the most obvious ones, but I loved Troll Hunter.
Oh, you're bringing it up already.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm bringing out the big guns. So I remember sitting in the living room one day and you were asking to watch it, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, you were completely against it, and I'm like, no, just watch it. Come on, it's awesome.
I was not into it, but then I sat down and watched it. It came out in 2010. Mm-hmm. It is a Norwegian classic.
Yes.
So, but I loved it. Good old Hans in the movie. I thought he was a great character. And the whole mockumentary style.
Yes. I kind of want to stop you real quick. Not to say that we can't keep talking, but this is such a good movie. I think we should not go into too much depth on the later part of the story. Just in case people haven't seen this, because it's probably not the most popular movie, and I want people to be able to get a good idea of what it is.
I agree. I haven't seen it.
And you need to. It's a
you
great movie.
It. It's awesome.
Been told I need to see it.
It does a great job. If you know anything about troll mythology, it incorporates that. I'm not going to tell you in what exact ways, because like I said, there's some stuff later on in the movie that if you know about ahead of time, it kind of doesn't make it as exciting when it starts happening.
They're internet trolls. No, just
kidding. Did you know?
Okay.
Did you know that most of the actors in the movie are actually famous comedians from the Norwegian circuit?
I did not know that. So that's a cool fact that I did not know. Like I said, this movie is a great movie. It's got, it's got trolls in it. I don't know what more we need to say, and it's done really well. It's basically, the premise is it's set up to where
there's these students
doing a film on, it's an environmental related, student film, but then they kind of start to piece together there's something else going on here, and then it's kind of discovered that trolls are real and that the government's been hiding it for them. So if you're into big monster movies, conspiracy theory movies, this is the perfect combination of both of those, because it takes and it does a really great job of getting this whole conspiracy theory thing around it too. I guess we're going to move on to Rob now. I think we're back to Rob.
Well, this might lead into the prior topic, but I guess you can't talk about giant monsters without also talking about King Kong.
Which, U.S.-based giant monster.
Yeah, and original King Kong, not near as big as anything that could fight a Jaeger or Godzilla, but still giant monster, which brings us to the new trailer going around.
Yes, and he is gigantic looking in that. I just remember the one scene in it where it's got the hand coming up and smack it. Like you see it through the chopper's windshield. You see it come up, and it's huge. Like, it looks huge. It definitely looks like something that could fight Godzilla. Almost. And on that note...
Well, two things I want to bring up about this movie, and I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I hope it's going to be good. But they recently remade they've remade King Kong.
Peter Jackson.
Well, they remade it in the 70s, and Peter Jackson did a remake. What do you think of them kind of rebooting the Kong thing not that long after Peter Jackson did a solid remake?
Well, we've had 2 Spider-Man since then, and True. 2 Supermans.
Yeah, I was like...
Well, we're on our second Superman.
And some Fantastic Four movies in there. But I just think it's weird though, because they're doing like kind of a Kong on 11, to where they're having a giant King Kong, whereas Peter Jackson's movie, whether you like it or don't like it, it's a pretty faithful retelling of the original story. When I saw it, I was surprised they even based it in the 1930s.
Yeah.
I kind of, going back to our old topic, like I was kind of hoping, like with the new Godzilla movie, that they'd try to do more of a direct remake of the 1954 one, and really kind of go from the perspective of like it kind of represents the whole Godzilla occurrence as a tragedy, and the resolution is destroying him with a newly invented weapon of mass destruction, and the scientist doesn't even want to use the weapon to kill Godzilla because he recognizes how horrific it is. And I guess I kind of hoped the remake of Godzilla would go kind of back to being really dark like the original. But anyway, back to King Kong. Like it did remake the first one. It didn't try to do a versus thing or modernize it. Just remake with a little bit fancier special effects.
All right. I think we're going to pull you away from kicking the giant dead Godzilla that is the newest one for a little bit to go to Ellie again.
Well, I love watching like the old style 1950s big bug era movies, and that brings me to Tremors.
Oh.
Yes.
Tremors.
I know. You can't go wrong with Kevin Bacon and Reba McEntire in a movie. But I don't know. There's just something about that movie every time I watch it. I just think it's fun and it's cheesy, and it puts me in that kind of monster mood.
Cool. I mean, there's like I said, millions of miles of list of giant monsters and movies and stuff. I'm sure we could go on about all Godzilla's enemies and stuff. So
that would take 2 hours.
I mean, just to hit a few points, Mothra. Mm-hmm. We got Mothra.
King Ghidorah.
We got
Ghidorah, however you want to pronounce it.
I was about to say, we could go on. You got Mechagodzilla. You got Space Godzilla. You got
Destroya, Rodan.
Which, of course, all of those have fought Godzilla, or a few of them have actually had their own movies done, too. Yeah. So you got those.
King Kong.
Yeah, technically King Kong would be another one. One that did not ever...
Biollante.
One that never did fight Godzilla, though. Gamera.
Nope, he never did.
Now, I will hesitate to say that they did do Screw Attack did do a death battles where they did fight each other. But that, I'm not counting that. We're talking about movies here, not YouTube stuff. No offense, guys.
Yeah, I don't think either franchise or property wants to say one can for sure beat the other. It's interesting to think who would win a fight. Also, I don't think they necessarily would want Gamera to lose. I think Godzilla's a fan favorite, but Gamera would probably be the good guy.
Since not a lot of people might know about Gamera, I'm just going to go over real quick. Giant turtle who can fly around. He kind of puts all of his appendages into his shell and flies around that way.
Breathes non-atomic fire.
Yes, he's the hero of the people, though, in most of the movies.
Even though they kind of made Godzilla hero-esque in the recent movie.
And in some of the later old ones.
Just grabbing that stick and just...
I'm just saying.
We're trying to move away, and we just keep running back to that a few more times.
Well, I mean, it is sort of the go-to classic. I mean, King Kong came first, but I think overall Godzilla's been a much bigger franchise.
More talking about the recent one that we just keep going back to beat a few more times.
Well, we don't have to go. We can go back to the good ones. By the way, there's also a 98 one that had Matthew Broderick. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's as much as we need to say about that.
That one fights Godzilla too.
In the
Final Wars.
Yeah, he's in it for like
just barely long enough for Godzilla to kill him.
Well, I have another one.
Okay.
I'm going away from Godzilla.
We're gonna move away from the newest Godzilla movie. Move away from the carcass that we have been kicking that Rob's been kicking relentlessly, and you ran in on a few times. So
yes.
let's move on.
Has anybody heard of or remember the movie Monsters?
I know they did a follow up to it that is even less memorable.
Well, I haven't seen that one. Monsters came out in 2010, and it was about this journalist that was hired to rescue an American and get her back to the States.
Let me see if I can remember the plot for this off the top of my head. Something crashed from outer space into, I believe it's Central America, somewhere in that area.
Like Mexico's the hot zone.
Okay, I was like, I feel like it's Mexico, but I want to say Central America because that's kind of still part of it. So crashes there. It's like this no-go zone because there's something there.
Quarantined.
Yes, there's something there.
Yes.
And a journalist, everything has to go in. Continue.
Well, yeah.
I was thinking if I could hit the overall.
No, yeah.
points.
I mean, basically, this journalist gets hired, and to rescue this American and get her back to the States, and it's another one of those indie type films, but I loved it. I thought it was great. And the gas station scene where they try to, speaking of like humanizing the monsters, they have that scene where they have a little alien octo love going on.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting. It was different. I liked it a lot.
Okay, cool. All right. So I guess I've got like 2 more I can do. Technically 3. Do you got any more right now?
I have 1 or 2 more that I could talk about.
Well,
yes.
Rob's got a comment to say, so I mean, he's waving his hand around, so let's go to him.
Well, I think with the new Kong movie, it's obviously they're gonna have Kong fight Godzilla. Isn't there even a date or a
May of 2020 is the quote unquote date for the for the Godzilla versus Kong, possibly quote unquote big quotation fingers waving everywhere.
So are we gonna see an Americanized expanded universe of the monsters from the Japanese franchise, and are we excited about it?
That's a good question. Definitely weigh in on the comments or on Twitter to us if you are excited about the possible, fight between two of those, and also if you if you like the new Godzilla movie, let us know, and I will let Rob know that you enjoy the movie.
I'd like to see a standalone Rodan movie done with good special effects.
But here's the other thing, real quick. I'm about to go on to something, but does the special effects take away from a guy being in a costume? That's a big question. You can do special effects enough, but kind of, in the end, does everyone just still want to see a guy in a costume do it?
Yes and no. From the nostalgia point of view, it's so much fun to watch the guy in the rubber suit, but now that we have the special effects to really bring home what we wanted to see, I'd also really like to see that done. It really hasn't been done great yet. Well, the closest they've probably come is Pacific Rim.
Well, there were people in the robots in the movie fighting, but anyways.
Well, as far as using the special effects to see what we've been wanting to see.
Cool. Going off of talking about special effects, the giant monsters, and people in the suits, I'm gonna bring up a strange one. I've got a strange one for you guys, so buckle in. Let me set this one up. This is a North Korean movie. I said that correctly. North Korean giant monster movie. It is called Pogasari. It was produced by Kim Jong-il. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. It gets better. The movie was directed by one of his favorite directors that he kidnapped to direct the movie for him, so he could have a giant monster movie. So Korea could have a giant monster movie franchise of their own.
That's a guy who knows how to make the movie he wants to see.
Still not done yet with the craziness. Since we're talking about giant monsters, Toho Studios, the creators of Godzilla, did help with the special effects. Now, continuing on, he had this director captured. He also had his ex-wife captured too, and was basically trying to get them to be a couple again because that's the only way they could both make good movies. I'm not making this up. Now, the final crazy thing about this movie is, let me go over the plot real quick. This girl has a little animal, like this little toy that gets like, it basically turns into a giant monster. That giant monster helps free the enslaved people of this. Now, remember, we're talking about North Korea. That's very important if you know the history of North Korea. Helps save the people of this nation in the movie from a king that is a tyrant and that is being, completely, rude to them and like just being a terrible tyrant king. Helps overthrow him, the monster does, and then becomes a tyrant king itself after saving the people from a tyrant king.
Wow.
Just saying, craziest giant monster movie that I can think of.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's
No words.
Can't,
Yeah, no words for that one. Like I said, that was my left field one. All right, Ellie.
Another one I wanted to mention was Cloverfield.
That's a good one.
I did like that one a lot.
Once again, now I'm running and kicking the Godzilla movie. Another movie where you don't really see the monster.
Right.
But the action was there.
Yeah, it was one of those movies that, like, the whole time I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to see it? Oh, there was a little piece of it. I mean, it was excitable for me. I love the one of the beginning scenes with the decapitated head of the Statue of Liberty.
Getting chucked into the street.
Characters were very fun in that too. Like, I feel like if I were going to write a giant monster, people partying, having a few drinks, then bang, what the heck is that?
Very relatable, I think.
Like, what'd you put in my drink, man?
Yeah, that one was, but I enjoyed that one a lot too.
Yeah, definitely one of the better new monster movies to come out.
All right, so one of the actors in that movie is actually T.J. Miller, who we all know from
Deadpool.
I was about to say there is other stuff he's in, but the most referential
most
thing,
recent.
Silicon Valley is also in that too.
Yeah.
Who was he in Deadpool?
He was
the bar owner.
The bar owner.
All right.
He was him in the Cloverfield movie. He was the guy who could not hold the camera steady.
Well, I mean, if you're running around like that, I think you wouldn't be able to hold it very steady either. So
I try.
I'm just saying.
No, I mean that was definitely a good movie. Like, I remember seeing the movie, and were you with me for that one, Rob? Yeah. And at the end, they were rolling the credits, and it showed them on the Ferris wheel, and it had the, like, if you watched, you saw something go into the water, and that's supposedly it. Another thing about that movie that I've read is that apparently that was just like a juvenile creature.
I feel like I've heard that too.
And and they've said to, when you watch it, imagine it's just like some like toddler throwing a temper tantrum more than a creature just wantingly destroying stuff. It's just something that has no clue why it's there. It's not doing this on purpose. It's kind of like, hey, I'm trying to move around here. But yeah, I mean, it's just a different way to look at that movie then, if you think about it that way. But yeah, that movie definitely a good one to watch. So I'm going to bring up another one real quick that I think, since we're talking about giant monsters, U.S.-based ones too, or ones that were done with the U.S., film industry. I'm sure we'll get back to Japan or some other countries very shortly, but Clash of the Titans. I am using both examples, the newer one with Sam Worthington and the older ones as well. Both those have the Kraken in it. Giant monster. I just wanted to make sure to point that one out, that one's a good one. That one was one that I liked watching the claymation one when I was younger, because it was cool to see at the time, and it was technically revolutionary for the time.
You could loosely call that a giant monster movie, but yeah.
So sticking with loosely giant monsters, I guess I can bring up one other, which I will defend this real quick. They did make a live action movie of it, but I'm referencing Attack on Titan. Not the live action. I'm swaying that to be able to justify it being in a giant monster movie, but I'm referencing the anime Attack on Titan. Giant monsters. I
can't say anything bad about that. I love that series.
It's definitely. I like anime. I'm very picky about my anime, but that one is definitely one that I definitely did enjoy, and it took me a little bit to get into it. But once I was kind of watching, I was like meh, and then like I said, I'm sure everyone's seen it, but there's a certain point where just stuff completely starts hitting the fan, and you're like, oh no, my favorite characters, no.
You're sitting there watching the second episode, third episode, and then you're like, oh crap, I finished the whole series, because you can just keep watching it.
What's up with all these main characters? Oh no. All right, so I guess we're going to kind of start wrapping things up here. I think we're going to bullet point. Each person gets one more shot at one more, just throw it out there, giant monster movie. And, Rob.
Well, another good, slightly lesser known but praised Japanese monster film is War of the Gargantuas. Give that one a shot. It's another, guys in rubber suits, and it's one gargantuan fights the other, but good flick. Check that one out.
Ellie.
I liked the Stephen King adaptation of The Mist. I thought it was, the CGI was kind of crappy in it, but I thought it was a pretty good story overall, and it had a crazy ending that
I only know, I've not seen that one sadly, but I know the ending. I know what the ending is, and it's one of those.
I'm not saying what the ending is, just in case there might be one person out there that hasn't seen it, but it was crazy.
Well, maybe you should wait a second and then tell them the ending. Like he should have.
YouTube's probably spoiled the ending for about everyone.
If you could only see his face.
But I didn't know the ending when I saw that movie, and it was definitely like a shocker.
Yes.
All right. So for my conclusion, for my wrap up, I am going back to the first mentioned giant monster on the list. Ivan Ooze. No, I'm legitimately going to it. I mean, as kids, a lot of us, what was the first thing we were introduced to with giant monsters fighting? People in suits fighting each other.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Of course, Ivan Ooze wasn't till the movie.
I'm using the movie to sidestep into the TV show.
Yes.
But yeah, and is that American or Japanese? Because that's debatable.
Definitely is. We got that new movie coming out with that. So who knows? We may get to see some more. I'm assuming CGI giant monsters.
Tie that into the new Godzilla expanded universe. I've always wanted to see the Megazord fight Godzilla.
Why not? And why not have Pacific Rim come in there and just have one of the Jaegers come in and start just a giant, huge mashup? Why not?
That'd be awesome.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up things on our giant monster discussion for our creepy Halloween episode. So we're going to go to break real quick. We will see you guys on the other side.
Welcome back to Zeng This. So I'm still here with Zenger and Ellie.
Yo.
Yes.
And
that was a fun conversation on the monsters and everything. The giant monsters. Got to clarify, giant monsters.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there's still a lot more we could say, but anyway.
Next October, maybe. Next October I'll have a follow up. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. There's a lot of anyway. But now we're moving on to a new topic.
A spooky topic.
Scary video games. And I'm just going to say I'm the awkward one in the room because I'm not near as big of a gamer as these two. But I have played some. I'll let you guys start since I'm not going to have as much to say.
Well, since Ellie won the pre-record sack race, she's going to go first.
Okay, I will gladly go first. Now, you're going to think that I don't know anything about new games, but for my picks, I just old school.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't know why, just for this particular discussion, most of my stuff were the older stuff I really liked. My first one that I really love is the Fatal Frame series.
Ooh.
Yes. You have a little thing called the camera obscura. And basically, long story short, it sounds silly, but you are in a couple different settings throughout the series, can see ghosts and paranormal in your screen. And that's how you try to damage them. You capture them into the camera.
Those games are kind of hard to find, aren't they, now?
Yeah, I have all three in mint condition. I'm super excited. But yeah, I love them. They're so just eerie and spooky, and it freaks you out because like you're looking through the camera in the room, and you know you're not looking in the camera, you don't see anything, and then you put the camera in front of you, and then all of a sudden it appears in your face, and it's that shock factor more than it is
The
like
jump scare.
Yeah, it's more a jump scare than it is anything else. But I love those series, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but they did do a fourth game in the series on the Wii U. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yes, but
Vaguely.
I'm talking about the older ones that I really liked. So
Cool. I guess my pick would be one of my picks would be Dead Space.
Okay.
Would
yeah.
be a scary game I played.
I
I'm
have
gonna
watched
say
you play that.
I'm gonna say the original one with parts of 2 in there too. I
Okay.
feel 2 was more body horror at times. I mean, they're both body horror, but
Ooh,
2.
and those freaky baby things.
Oh,
Oh, those were weird. Yes.
yeah.
Ooh.
It was
Creepy.
very in the vein of Resident Evil, which I'm sure will probably get brought up again very shortly by somebody. But that one was definitely a great game. The isolation, the visceral sounds of stuff,
Yeah.
and all the ways you could die too, because they found about every way they could to kill you in those games, and it was
definitely.
and it was probably some of the coolest. Like, I mean, it sucked that you died, but it was a cool thing. Like if you're into horror and everything like that, to watch yourself get killed, because they were pretty graphic on those. So that was definitely a fun game. Atmosphere wise, very creepy. Definitely if you're playing with headphones on or with the surround sound system, it is a very sound effects driven game as well, to hear some of the stuff from all around you almost. That was definitely a creepy game or scary game that I played. So
Speaking of Resident Evil, I'm going to do one of your segues, see if it works for me. Okay.
we'll find out.
All right. Well, way back in 1999, there was a little gem made by Capcom that was basically Resident Evils with dinosaurs. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Dino Crisis.
Yes! I love Dino Crisis.
I
I
saw
don't know
Rob's
if I'd
face
say
light up.
that's scary, but it's definitely fun as crap.
Yes. Well, it's considered the horror genre, but it's probably just because of there were definitely some parts where, once again, more of the jump scare than actual like Dead Space type scary.
Did you like the first one or the second one better?
Oh gosh.
The first one was probably a little more horror because I felt like the dinosaurs were harder to kill, but there were less of them. So when they came out, it was a little more scary. The second one, it just seemed like there was a trillion dinosaurs everywhere
there were more,
to shoot.
Yes. I played more of the first one than the second one. So.
I actually played more of the second one.
Okay.
I think when I got a PlayStation, that was like, I got a PlayStation for Christmas, and Dino Crisis 2 was one of the games I got with it. But
I love Dino Crisis.
yeah, but so much fun to play.
Yeah.
The second one, if you're trigger happy, lots of raptors to kill.
Nice. So that's you got one, Rob?
Yeah, with that one being said, The other game I got as soon as I got a PlayStation was
Parasite Eve.
Oh my gosh.
Parasite Eve 2, actually.
Yes, Parasite
which-
Eve.
That's another very body horror, like, mutated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think doesn't get mentioned enough. I know a bunch of people are really strong followers of the first one.
Yes.
I actually really like the second one a whole lot. The fact that it's like subtext and there's very little actual talking in the game kind of takes away from, but the gameplay in that game I loved. I guess the term open world, it's not like Grand Theft Auto, but I like how big everything is and you can go back to places you were.
Yeah. It had a really good storyline too, I thought.
Really good environment, good story, good like little puzzles on how to get through things. But once you get to like the underground government shelter, that did get a little creepy, especially like it's a lot of reading. You went through the lab notes and mutated like test monkeys that got mutated into monsters, just real creepy stuff. I loved Parasite Eve 2, and the first one's not bad either.
Yeah.
I guess with us continuing to talk about body horror and experiments and stuff like that, I guess I'll bring it up. Resident Evil.
Okay.
We gotta. I'll admit it, and I know I'm probably
The
gonna
obvious choice.
I'll admit it, and it's probably I'm gonna get flack for this. 4's my favorite, and 4's the only one I've really played. And I really like that.
No, the first one. That initial scene where that dog crashes through the window scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, hands down, it was awesome.
Well, like I said, I played the 4th one. I like the 4th one a lot.
It is a good
and
one.
It definitely changed my opinion on Resident Evil. So
You don't want to talk about 5?
Moving on.
Sorry. You can't talk about scary games without mentioning Silent Hill.
Good one. Definitely a good one. This one was also brought up on our Facebook page by one of our fans. Travis also brought this one up.
Great,
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's definitely one that has been, brought up by our fans as well.
Just that first section of the game, the first one.
Yeah.
When the fog rolls in, and it was just really cool.
Definitely creates a very
yes.
creepy atmosphere to a game.
There's a part in the first Silent Hill. It's been years since I played it. Yeah, you're like looking at a locker and it's like vibrating. You open it, there's nothing in there, and then like something falls out of the one behind you. Like that's probably like a lot of horror games, but that's a game that you actually get scared while playing. It's awesome.
I could not play that game like in the dark and just like it would freak me out too much.
It's a terrible game to play at 2 a.m. before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rob, you had one.
Yeah, I think, it's comical, but it's horror. Dead Rising is a fun zombie game. I think, like, part of the charm is with all the zombie stuff out now, I feel like everyone has, like, a plan for what they do during the
customizing is what I liked in that.
Yeah. Duct taping
Yeah.
stuff to other... I'm trying to think.
You can do pretty much anything in there.
I'm thinking of the kayak paddle. I know this is from the second game, but the kayak paddle with the chainsaws.
Everyone has ideas for what they do to kill zombies, and
this game,
And
this
the
game helps
costumes,
you live out
the
some of the
costumes.
fantasy. So,
that one's definitely a lot of fun. Not the scariest game, unless you're just that terrified of
but
zombies.
there's lots of gore and zombies. So, Dead Rising, definitely a good one.
All right, I've got one. I'm gonna say this, and I know I'm probably gonna get flack from Ellie for this. Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm just going with the first one for me. It's a fun game. It's jump scary though. So I mean,
I have no idea what that is. So briefly explain.
So you've been to Chuck E. Cheese before, I'm sure.
Yeah, at some point or another.
You know the animatronics?
Yeah.
Imagine if they came to life and were trying to kill you.
They made an entire game based on that?
They made an entire
Don't get me started.
4 games, a novel, a role-playing game, and they
apparel,
have
they have t-shirts,
apparel,
yeah.
and they have a
It's insane.
another game coming out that's called Sister Location that is gonna be part of a new trilogy. It's part of a new Origin of Games, and I can't even get into the amount of stuff in the games for like the lore and everything. It would take another 5 podcasts to cover that. Which, if you wanna get into that, I would definitely say check out the Game Theorist, Matt Pat. He does a really good job of explaining all that, better than I ever could. So I'm just gonna leave that there. But it's a jump scare game. It's something to where you're trying to, you're sitting in a room and you got to make sure that they don't get in, and if they do, then they get you. Actually, I got it on a computer, so you can play it after we're done.
We'll see.
Don't do it.
So, I guess to finish out real quick, we got another comment from one of our other listeners. V posted Outlast, which I'm interested in. I haven't gotten a chance to pick it up or play it. It seems like a very creepy game. So that one's definitely another one that was mentioned by a listener. Ellie, you got something?
I just have one more quick one. I liked Alan Wake.
Oh, yes.
I thought it was pretty cool, and it was a little scary in the fact that you never knew when your battery was going to die in your flashlight, and you're stressing to try to find more batteries so you could keep your light on to keep the people, the bad guys at bay. So I thought that one was a little freaky for me. I liked it.
All right. I got one more. Oh, wait, Rob, you got something?
Well, one game that's not...
yes, I remember now.
Yeah, it's not scary, but I think it's definitely horror. I feel like it needs to be mentioned. Doom.
Doom is a good game. I think we can all here say that we played Doom. I want to play the new one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I played the old one.
I've got the new one. I haven't played it yet, but...
Bring it down, man. I'll play it then.
All right, I played tons and tons
or
of
we
the
could
old
record
Doom,
us playing it.
And does have some scary imagery and definitely very big on the gore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give one final one real quick. And I know I'm probably going to get flack for this, but let me explain the situation. Gears of War. Playing it online, you are the last person left alive. And someone sniped, and like, it's you and one other person, you're both running around the map, and then you poke up to see if someone's there, and your head suddenly explodes. That always made me jump about 10 miles up into the air when I was playing online.
Blood splatters on the screen.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's because you're sitting there, you're looking around, you look up to see, where is he? And then all of a sudden your head just breaks apart, and you're like, what the hell? So that one...
Yeah, I'll give that.
Like I said, I know it's not a horror game. I just want to say that always scared, like that made me jump.
Well, and we never said it had to be a horror game. It was just stuff that had scary when we played it. So
that got my heart beat up a little bit. All right, so I guess that wraps up our Halloween segments for this podcast. We're gonna go to break real quick. When we come back, we'll have a little bit more to say. This is Zeng This. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break.
welcome back. We had a really fun, exciting conversation about our video games that we thought were scary.
Yes, I thought that was a nice little conversation about, fun, spooky video games and everything. So that was definitely a nice little treat for Halloween.
You're too much.
Oh, next year's going to be so much fun.
Yes. Okay.
Before we wrap things up, I just want to give I cannot give a big enough shout out to the Unbelievable Podcast. I know
Unbelievers.
I know we've got some unbelievers probably listening to us now. I just want to thank Brian and Phoebe for, giving us a nice little shout out on their podcast.
Yes, definitely.
That
was really awesome.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I'm so happy they did that. Me and Ellie are a fan of them and have listened to them for a while now. So it was definitely really great to get that shout out from them and to get some of the unbelievers to listen to us as well. I know we don't cover the same topics they do, but
right.
But we try to have as much fun as they do on their podcast. So So with that being said, I guess we're gonna go down a few little ways of how to get in touch with us.
Yes. So don't forget to check us out on our various media. We have Zeng This on Facebook,
Definitely give us a like.
at Zeng This on Twitter.
Definitely give us a tweet.
Tweet, tweet. iTunes, Zeng This.
Just search it.
Yep. And you can also find us on Patreon.
We're having some cool stuff we're starting to work on there. We're probably going to be putting out an extra podcast for Patreon members, and we are working on some extra video content, behind the scenes audio and video stuff as well.
Yeah,
So-
you might have to see our crazy faces.
Yes. So definitely give that a check out and see what you could possibly do for us on there.
You can also get us on Instagram at Zeng This Podcast.
So you can see some pictures of some stuff.
We're going to try to get some more pictures posted. We
might do a few just behind the scenes photos and stuff
Yes.
like that to see, where we're working and what we might be up to.
And then SoundCloud, Zeng This.
Yes. So if you don't have a Apple device and you want to listen to us, you always have SoundCloud as well.
And you can also, if you have any questions or just need to get in touch with us,
Or want to recommend a topic.
yes, you can email us at zengthis@gmail.com.
So those are the definitely different multimedia ways you can get in touch with us.
And then don't forget to thank our music again, as
yes.
always.
Our music is, of course, done by DJ Golden Boy 89. He does all of our music for us, so definitely give him a check out. I mean, he's on all of those platforms as well. Finally, I'd like to say have a happy Halloween, you guys.
Yes,
Definitely.
get lots of candy.
Get lots of candy. Go trick or treating. Have fun. Be safe. But we will see you guys next week.
Ooh, you know what we're going to talk about?
I'm going to give him a hint. Next week, we will be having the podcast, of course, on November 7th.
Yay!
If anyone knows what November 7th means to a certain video game culture, or N7, that might give you a hint on what next week's topic is.
Yes.
But for the time being, we want to thank you guys for listening to us. This has been
Zeng This.
Bye.